Welcome back to the ETF Inspector. It's Monday, September 22nd, just about 4:30 in the afternoon, and this is our daily recap video for our 4 Roundhill weekly paying funds. The first 3 are 0DTE covered call strategies on the indexes, QDTE for the NASDAQ 100, XDTE for the S&P 500, and RDTE for the Russell 2000. I actually accidentally closed out the last one, and it is YBTC, the Bitcoin covered call strategy for which uses iShares Bitcoin Trust ETF as their synthetic, and then sells calls off of them, paying a weekly distribution. Reminder, I'm on X at ETF_Inspector1. I post all things related to these videos and ETFs that I cover, as well as specifically the 0-day trades made within these funds. Generally, it's in a spreadsheet form. See if I can scroll back and find one like that, but today I didn't have access to my computer, so it was just kind of written out in Word form. But let's take a look at how they performed. In general, NASDAQ 100 up a little over 0.5%. QDTE was not able to keep up, only going up about 0.33%. S&P 500 up 0.44%. XDTE only up 0.18%. The Russell 2000 was up almost 0.6%, and for some reason RDTE dropped 0.09%. And then finally, YBTC is off of IBIT. IBIT was down 2.63%. YBTC was down 2.75%. So all 4 actually underperformed their underlying. So it is not a good day for Roundhill. Now let's take a look at the trades. We'll start off with QDTE. They started the day selling 385 calls with a strike price of $24,670 on the NDX, collecting $11.98 per share, or $461,000. The NDX closed at $24,761.07. That is $91.07 beyond the strike price sold. That comes out to a $3.5 million settlement cost. So take away the $460 collected up front, and overall they lost $3 million on the trading day. When we take a look at the holdings, on Friday, people sold out of the fund. The outstanding shares dropped by 430,000 down to 26,490,000. Our NAV at the start of the day was 35.79. Obviously, it's going to climb some with the increase of the underlying, going up to 36 for the closing share price. There's $948 million in assets under management that will increase tomorrow based on their underlyings going up a little over 0.5%. The only change in our holdings from Friday is that they closed out 2 of the contracts here for the nearest expiration date. These are our synthetics. They buy deep in the money calls, also known as leaps, and then they sell calls off of them. So they sold 2 of these December 19th calls with a strike price of $2,416.81. They're obviously way in the money. That's why they are valued at $22,000 per share. All right. The most recent, we just got paid a little over 20 cents on Friday as our distribution. Our next announcement day is this coming Wednesday, the 24th. If you missed the Friday guesstimate video, I came up with a guesstimate of 20.5 cents as our payment for this week. Next, we look at XDTE. They sold 624 calls with a strike price of $6,665 expiring today, collecting $3.08 per share premium, or $192,000. The SPX closed at 66.9375. That's $28.75 beyond their strike price. So that's the cost to settle it, or almost $1.8 million. Take away the $192,000 collected up front, and it is a loss on the day of $1.6 million. XDTE had no changes in holdings from Friday. Outstanding shares still remains the same at 9,355,000. Assets under management, 415 million. These will climb slightly tomorrow after the updated information. So these are not live time. The prices up here are live time. Everything else comes from a download. So when we get the download tonight, it will update these. They will obviously be worth more because deep in the money calls are going to increase in value if the underlying increases in value. Again, they paid just under 21 cents this past Friday, and my guess is just over 21 cents for this week. 21.1 is my guesstimate. NAV was 44.46 at the start of the day, and we ended at 44.49. Not sure if that's actually down even less, 44.48. Sometimes Excel's automatic pull of closing prices takes a little bit of time. All right, and then the final of the 3 0-day trade strategies, RDTE sold 639 calls on the Russell 2000 with a strike of 24.45, collecting $1.47 per share or $93,000. The Russell 2000 closed at 24.6334. That's $18.34 beyond the strike price. That comes to $1.1 million to close out, minus the $93,000 collected, and it's just over $1 million negative or loss on the option trading day. RDTE had no changes in their holdings as well. So we've got calls purchased that expire anywhere from December of this year to December of next year. There's $156 million in assets under management, 4,610,000 outstanding shares. The NAV started at 33.85 today, and share price dropped to 33.80 with today's drop. So it is a little odd. So obviously, they're not going to be able to keep up with the increase because they have a loss trading-wise. But the value of their underlyings should have increased some. It's definitely odd for them to go negative on such a positive day, and then even more odd to continue negative in the after hours. But everything will balance out. Their last distribution was 22.65 cents last week. My guesstimate on Friday was 22.8 cents. So guessing that all three are going to stay very close to where they were. Next, we have YBTC. They do not do a daily trade. So this past Friday, they closed out their weekly calls and sold new ones. The new strike price closing on Friday the 26th is $66.55. They have 50,901 contracts or calls sold at that price. They most likely collected right around $2.9 million. That was the value at close. We just don't know at what time in the day or what price because they don't share all that information. But with today's drop of 2.6%, that brings these sold calls out of the money by 4.5%. So they are looking like they will most likely win that. When we download the holdings, these will have dropped drastically in value, so they will be much cheaper to close out, which should help increase the value. Again, it's odd for the underlying to drop worse than, or for the fund to drop worse than that, because their holdings right here, their synthetic in IBIT should drop right with IBIT's drop, but then they've already sold these calls and collected the money. So if the cost to close them out shrinks drastically, then the overall value of the fund actually improves based on that. So it is odd to see on a down day for YBTC to do worse than the underlying. There's $332 million in assets under management, 7,260,000 shares. Your NAV at the start of the day was 45.82. Obviously, that was before such a harsh drop. Let's see if they also continued negative in their after hours. Nah, they started to bounce back a little bit. My guesstimate for this week is 42.5 cents. they actually declare tomorrow, Tuesday. So technically, if you really want to know, tonight after 8 o'clock, you go check their website, and they generally have it updated. Last week's payment was 39.5 cents. My guess for this week is 42.5. So if you don't want to go check it out later on tonight, then just come back for tomorrow's video, and I will have it in there. The synthetic was worth a negative $5.3 million. That was before today's drop, so that's going to go much deeper in the negative now that it is underwater by almost 3.7%. Let's see, H2 minus, and actually that should be 0.7. So it is actually 4.79% out of the money or into the negative. Okay, that's all I've got for you. Thank you for watching. I guess I could give you one more little bit of information. We've got WPAY was supposed to announce today. If we go check out Roundhill, where they normally make their announcement, they have not put it out yet. They did. Oh, here it is right now, 11 minutes ago. So right when I started the video, 51.3709 cents. So that is close, comparable to last week's announcement. I think it was something in the 53-cent range. 54. So last week was 54, and this week is 51. Tomorrow is X date and record date, and then Wednesday is pay date for WPAY if you're into them. All right. Thank you for watching. Appreciate all the support, and good luck trading tomorrow. I'll catch you in the next video.